Happy Wednesday. So, I wanted to talk to you about embracing competition. This is something that we all worry about when we create a new product, service, or online course or ebook, really anything, right? Is we always are worried about competition. The first thing we think of is an idea, and then from the idea, we think about how cool it would be to actually develop it and create it. Then from there, we realize that there's already something similar out there. We see that there's another, I'm going to use real examples like another gym or another hair salon or another nail salon or another massage therapist or whatever it may be. And you think about that and then you think, okay, well, I can't do it. Sorry about the beeps there. Then you think about, well, I can't do it because so-and-so is already doing it. And so why should I do it? It's already out there. I just need to move on because, people are already shopping at the one down the street. So where are they going to come to my shop? And when I say shop or down the street, I don't just mean like a physical location. I'm talking about online location as well. So if I refer to a shop, that can be online and offline as a real retail location. When I refer down the street, that could be down the street, literally, or it could be, the next person in the Facebook news feed or wherever you're looking at online. So just keep that in mind. I like to relate things to real life. So you have your idea, you've started to already plan it out and wanting to develop it, and then you realize there's competition, and so you get discouraged. But you need to change that energy and revert it back to the idea and how excited you were about it. And then what you want to do is take that time to pause and start doing your research. That is key. I've been telling you this. Research is key because even when you think you've done enough research, you haven't. I'm guilty of it as well. We do a quick Google search. We look maybe the whole page, the first page on Google. Then we go through and we search maybe the second page if we're lucky, and then we call it a day. But that's just the first round, and that's okay. That's more than what a lot of other people are doing, so you're a step ahead. And you're going to constantly find new things pop up the more you work on your project, the more you work on that creation, that idea, that product, that service that you're developing. And so what you want to be aware of is, one, that you're doing that research because it's important at the very beginning as well as throughout the entire process. So we're talking about through development and through execution and post, like whatever happens after you launch your new product or service, you need to still constantly be researching. And when you're researching, you will discover new things pop up every time. And the beauty about embracing the competition is, one, that it's somebody else is already doing it. So you can reach out to them, you can learn from them, you can observe, you can see what's working, what's not. You can find out why you're different, why your product or service is different from theirs. Because remember, it doesn't have to be reinventing the wheel. You literally are just focused on one key thing. What's that one key thing that makes you stand out? What's that one key thing that your product does better than anybody else? The first thing I usually think of, this is just automatic for my brain, is that when I look at a new product or service that catches my attention, the first thing that comes to mind is, how can I make that better? I have no intention of actually following through with that for most of these things because I don't have time or money or other resources to go through and develop that. But I'm like, how can I make that better? And then ideas start coming. And then that's when it's like, oh, okay, I'll write those down in case I need them later or if somebody else might need them. And then I keep it moving. But every time you look at a product or a service, you want to ask yourself, one, how can I make that better if it's of interest? But two, the other question that most people will be asking themselves right off the bat, and this happens in a matter of seconds, so you might not even notice this, but what they're going to ask themselves is, when they see your product or service for the first time, they're going to ask themselves, why do I care? And that just happens so quickly that you might not even realize that you're asking that question, and you have to keep that in mind when you're developing whatever you're working on, your creation, is why do I care? Put yourself in the mind of your potential customers. Why do I care? And you list out exactly that one single key factor of what makes you different. And remember, you just have to have a problem, a solution, and how you're going to get there for them. That's all people are looking for. They don't need everything else that you want to throw in there because you feel like they need it, or because you want to make it feel like they've got their money's worth, or whatever the case may be. Literally, that's a nice thing, but literally people are really only looking for the solution to the problem that they have and how they can get there quickly. That's it. Give them the short, sweet, simple answer they're looking for, and everyone goes home happy and everyone's winning, right? So embrace the competition, because when you're doing your research, you're going to find competition. Whether you think you have competition or not, chances are you do, and you just have to find them. And the more you research and the more you develop your idea out, the more you'll find these this competition. And usually a lot of them, like for instance, I just saw a post that was earlier this year, it was around February. It was a Forbes article that had a ton of online course platforms. It was great. It was a great read. But there was a few in there that I actually have never heard of. And and even though I've done research on the platforms, there's been a couple in there. There was a couple in that article that I have never seen in my research. And so that shows you right there that, one, I did my research, but obviously they were hiding somewhere. But two, they're maybe not as popular, so that's why they're not showing up in those first few pages of Google or in the mainstream or on Facebook or wherever, right? There's all these little keys, like they say, the riches and the niches. There's all these little key pockets that we may never even discover. And that's okay, but as long as we're doing the research, that's what counts. And embracing that competition, because somebody else has done it. Somebody else is one step ahead. And remember, that's all we need, is just one step ahead and have somebody help us, or to observe and take note from and see what we can do to improve that. So embrace the competition. Don't be afraid of it. If you have a product or a service that you're looking into developing, that's awesome. I'm not going to tell you you have to do it and you have to produce it because you want to make a ton of money. That's not what it's about. If it's something that you actually are passionate about and you think is a cool thing that people might actually like and use, then by all means, take the next step and research and see what comes next. Like, that's how I've done all of my businesses, is I've literally taken an idea and I've just rolled with it. There's been tons of ideas that I rolled with real quick and I stopped. And then I realized that's not for right now. And I've put in the idea bank, and that's okay. But there's been a couple, like the magazine, Yes to Entrepreneurship, the podcast, the StupidEasy.com. These are bigger ideas that I've continually gone along with, that I've rolled with, not because I think I can get a ton of money and I can become rich. That's not my goal. My goal is to help people. My goal is to share what I know and help improve the lives of others and help them build better businesses, and to connect with more people and to be able to navigate their way through technology, because that's what I do. That's what I help people with. And that's what I want to do for work, so that I can live a decent lifestyle and be able to give back as much as possible. Your goal may be different. You may want to become rich and famous, and that's your ideal situation, and that's what you're gonna go for. Then that's great. But the point is that you want to take whatever ideas you have, and this is including if you're working a 9-to-5 or not. You want to take whatever ideas you have, make note of them all the time. Pause for the first 30 seconds to a minute when you have those ideas and write down everything that comes to mind, and just put it in that idea bank and then move forward. If it comes back later, then you expand upon it and you think, I wonder what happens next. And then you keep it moving, right? And then you keep doing that, and that snowball effect will work for the ones that have a little bit more meat on them, that are to get you to the next level. I'm not going to say that the snowball effect works every time fully from start to finish, because that's not true. take example with the magazine again. That magazine that I created, Mix It Up Magazine, that was a fantastic business for what it needed to be. It was successful in teaching me everything I need to know about how to start, run a business, have a design team, have a printer, print physical copies of magazine, run an online magazine, and do all of that, including performances and promotion. I mean, it was amazing, and I don't regret 1 minute of it. And I ran it for 2 years. Do I call that a failure because it didn't make any money? No way. It was the best experience, and it was a snowball effect. I started to have an idea. I started to read a book on it because I wanted to do more research, and I thought, I can't move to New York right now. I don't want to, I should say. And I decided, why not continue to go down the line and use this book. It was a Nolo Press book, a legal book on how to start and run a magazine and newsletter. I literally followed the book and my ideas and connected with the right people at the right time. One thing led to another, and 2 years later, I had a full-on business that I was proud of, that I created t-shirts for, that I had 4 issues available, both, the first 2 issues were print and online. All 4 issues are online and on my website if anybody wants to check them out. But it was fantastic. So keep that in mind, that you're going to have that idea that you say, okay, I'm going to take a chance on this. I want to see what goes next. I'm going to do the research, and then you'll constantly fine tune and pivot, right? You may have these big pivots that say, hey, you're halfway into this and this is not right for you. There's something better. But understand that that pivot was meant to be, and that what you just did and what you just learned is going to take you to the next level for that next not next bump in the road, for that next step that you have, that you pivoted there, if you follow me there. So just keep that in mind, that everything you do leads to the next step. And I know that sounds, typical or whatever you may think of that, but it's so true. And that whatever you're working on, whether you have a 9-to-5 or you're an entrepreneur, you need to make sure that you're constantly doing your research and being okay with those pivots and embracing the competition, because that's what's going to set you apart from everyone else. I promise you. And that's what's going to make you stand out, and you're just going to feel more confident about it too. I'm looking at some of these competitors, and while each has their own, niche and what they bring to the table, there's still and I'll get worried at times because I'm like, oh, there's another competitor, and then I look at it and I'm like, okay, it's fine for what it is, but it's still not what I'm doing. It's still not what I'm bringing to the table. While it may be close, while it may be very, very similar, there's still that one thing that I bring to the table. Well, at least one thing. There's going to be more, but at least one thing that I bring to the table that's different than those others. And that's the same for you. Nobody can compete with you. So keep that in mind. Embrace the competition, and let me know if this helped for you. I really enjoyed being able to share this with you guys, and I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.